Hello, everyone. My name is Paolo De Martino, and today we will continue our exploration of port cities in light of contemporary and future challenges. Naples, a millenary port city along the Mediterranean coast in southern Italy, is dealing with multiple challenges related to port and city development. Like in many other port cities around the world, in the 20th century, port and city Naples have become separated from one another, both spatially, socially, and culturally. Urban expansion has confined the port to a narrow area along the coast. This stretch of harbor activities and related infrastructures separate the area between land and sea and cuts off the citizen from the coast. The relationship between water and land is dynamic and expands beyond the interface between port and city to form a dynamic spatial network, a port cityscape, as we have discussed before. On the seaside, since the beginning of the 21st century, the growing scale of ships and increasing traffic has pushed the Port Authority of Naples to make significant investment in port infrastructures. This has had a significant impact on spatial development on land side. Hundreds of trucks moving in and out of the port every day generate water, air, and noise pollution and damage the urban and historical environment, creating social and cultural frictions. This raised the questions: how should the multiple policymaking and planning authorities in Naples and its region deal with such conflicting interests, and at which scale? In 2016, the Italian national government created the port region in order to improve port efficiency. This national legislation framed the Port of Naples as part of a larger metropolitan region of around 3 million inhabitants, with a coastline that goes from the Gulf of Pozzuoli to that of Salerno. This new agency, the Central Tyrrhenian Port Authority, is in charge today of the Port of Naples, Castellammare, and Salerno. This centralization of planning powers over an extended region presents a unique opportunity for the different municipalities in charge of urban design in the region to rethink, discuss, and design the spatial development of the region and to facilitate a reintegration of port and city. Today in Naples, there are many public and private actors, each with their own goals and special imprint. They often have contrasting views of the best way for port and city to collaborate. Improved collaboration between port and city actors is restricted by diverging goals and interests and by historical long-standing planning practice that are not aligned with each other or coordinated on a regional scale. However, the Port Authority, municipality, regional and national authorities, port operators, and local citizens coexist in the same space. To find future strategies that are acceptable to all, they need to identify common goals, values, and tools. Collaborative decisions are important to redevelop large port-related spaces that are waiting for redevelopment. There are several examples in Europe where port and city actors have started to realize that they need to collaborate, at least in former port areas close to the city. Examples include the RDM campus or the Maker district in Rotterdam. Such developments require continuous engagement between port and city actors. Many of the challenges of port and city play out in spaces that actors wish to claim. In Naples, the area of San Giovanni Teduccio to the east of the city is an example of a site where competing interests have blocked spatial development since the beginning of the 20th century. This strategic area has long been home to oil installation and container terminals that serve the city of Naples and beyond. Port and city authorities have competing goals for this site. The Port Authority has proposed the much-needed expansion of the container terminal with a new platform extended into the sea. The municipality aims to establish a special economic and social connection between citizens and the sea, and to this end has proposed a new beach next to container terminal as an opportunity to connect different parts of the city. Despite the urgency for the authorities to resolve this conflict, a final decision has not been reached. To plan the future, it's important to recognize the interests and special claims of all stakeholders involved and how these have evolved over time. Then, in order to overcome conflict, it's necessary to identify shared goals and values as a foundation for future design. In Naples, this would require moving beyond historical conflicts among the municipalities involved and between the urban entities and the port authorities. to develop a comprehensive strategy for the 3 ports and cities of the region as a unique and resilient ecosystem. New opportunities may arise from a more integrated approach that connects the economy of the port to the territory and its inhabitants. To promote a more collaborative governance, RETE, the Association for Collaboration Between Ports and Cities, has developed the concept of the advanced node, explained by Fernando Contigliano in week 2 of this MOOC. As he explained, the advanced node represents a tool to develop research activities and an opportunity to get in touch with local communities to deal with the concrete problems related to port operations. Such a shared plan requires a change of perspective by the authorities, as well as the introduction of new planning tools which are able to frame the port as part of a much wider region. Coordination on a regional scale is much needed to conceptualize Naples as a multifunctional port cityscape, where new economies, technologies, and infrastructures are truly integrated with spaces and the cultures of people living around the port. Conflicts between ports and city stakeholders exist around the world, and many different efforts have been made to address them. Can you recognize similar special and stakeholders conflict in your port city?